Good day, my co-learners. How are you today? I hope you're okay. Today, we will take a new lesson for your new learnings and for you to understand, if in case you want to clarify some important points. The topic is all about the figurative language. Are you ready? I guess you're ready now. Okay, let's start. What is figurative language? Refers to words or phrases that are meaningful, but not literally true. If you say, "That news hit me like a ton of bricks," you are using figurative language. Listeners understand the news you got was deeply moving, and also know that you were not actually hit by 2,000 pounds of bricks, because if you had been, you would be dead. Similarly, if you say, "He begged me to reconsider, but I had a heart of stone, and I refuse," you are also using figurative language. Listeners understand that you are describing yourself as inflexible or unforgiving, and know that your heart is not actually made of stone. I hope you have now the idea of what is figurative language. Here are some of the more common types of figurative languages and examples of their use. Number 1 is simile. A simile is a phrase and an indirect association that uses the words like or as to describe someone or something by comparing it with someone or something else that is similar. Don't forget our two keywords here, the word like and as, so that we will not make a mistake during examination. It is comparing someone or something else that is similar. Get it? I hope you get it. Example number 1. Annalisa is like a flower. Who is like a flower? It's Annalisa. Annalisa here is compared as flower, or her beauty is similar to flower. Another example. Aliana Zane was as brave as a lion in the jungle. Who was as brave as a lion here? It's Aliana Zane. She was as brave as a lion in the jungle. She was similarly compared to a brave lion in the jungle. Last example. I am so tired, I will sleep like a baby. Saying you will sleep like a baby means you will sleep deeply, but we don't know if that is how a baby will sleep. Some babies sleep well, and others sleep poorly. Number 2 is metaphor. Metaphor is a direct comparison that disregards the use of like or as. Don't forget our important keywords here. The word direct comparison and disregards. Disregard to what? Disregards the use of like or as. It disregard because it is a direct comparison, not an indirect comparison. Get it? Okay, let's have example. An example of a popular metaphor is time is money. The statement compares time and money, and it does not literally mean that the amount of time you have equals the money that you have. Instead, it means that time is a valuable resource, and it should be used effectively to earn money. Any time wasted means that a person loses the chance to make more money. Second example is this. Love is a battlefield. Love here is similarly compared to battlefield without using the word like or as, so therefore, it is a metaphor. Last example is this. My desk had a mountain of paperwork in it. There was no actual mountain, just a large amount of paper. Let's go to another types of figurative language. Number 3 is hyperbole. Hyperbole is figurative use of language, also takes the form of extreme exaggeration. This very often expresses an impossibility or near impossibility. Our keyword here is exaggeration, an overstatement of the truth. Now let's have an example. Number 1. She literally was swimming in money. The person described did not actually swim through a pool of currency, but merely had a lot of money. That is why it is hyperbole, because it is an exaggeration. Next example is, I would die for you. The sentence does not necessarily mean that one person is literally willing to die for the other, but it used to exaggerate the amount of love that one person has for another person. Death is only used to show the extent of affection. You get it now? I hope you get it to recognize this kind of figurative language. Let's have another examples. I have told you a million times to wash the dishes. The afternoon is so bright that the sun would have to wear sunglasses. So that's how we use exaggeration sentences. Next type of figurative language is oxymoron. Oxymoron is a phrase or words that is a self-contrasting statement. Our keyword here is self-contrasting and self-contrasting. Here are the examples. Big baby, open secret, passive-aggressive, original copy, alone together, deafening silence, clearly confused, living dead, and loud silence. So that is what it means for oxymoron. Next type of figurative language is irony. Irony is the contrast between what was expected and what actually happened. So it is like watching a movie of what an audience thinks should happen versus what actually happened on that movie. Now let's have an examples. No smoking sign during a cigarette break. This is my brilliant son who failed out of school. She's a great singer who sing like a crow. Our last example is this, the blind leading the blind. So that's for the irony. Other type is personification. Personification is the attribution of human characteristics to non-living objects or giving human attributes to an inanimate object, animal, idea, etc. Our key phrase is attribution of human characteristics to non-living objects. Do you get it? Let's have an example to solidify our understanding. Number 1 is this. The sun greeted me when I woke up in the morning. The sun is a non-human object, but has been given human characteristics since greetings can only be performed by living creatures. So that is why it is called personification. Similar example of this is the sun is looking down on me. Next example is this. April is the cruelest month of the year. The car brake screamed all through the journey. The wind was howling all night. The word cruel, scream, and howling are the attribution of the human characteristics or living creatures, and not to non-living. That is why it's so called personification. Do you get it? I hope you get it. Next type is synecdoche. Synecdoche is an association of some part with the whole it represents. Our key phrase here is part of the whole. Now let's have an examples. Check out my new wheels. Wheels is an example of synecdoche used to refer to a car. In this example, a part of a car, its wheels, is used to represent the car as a whole. Do you get it now? Yes, you are. Let's have another example. The face who launched 1,000 ships. Did you find a part of the whole in this sentence? Yes, it's the word face. Face is part of the whole, which is the body. Let's have another example. Hired hands. The phrase, hired hands, can be used to refer to workers. The farmer needed to bring on some hired hands. Another type is metonymy. Metonymy is when a phrase is replaced with another which has a similar meaning, used to describe something in an indirect manners. An association in which the name of something is substituted by something that represents it. It can easily be confused with synecdoche. Both metonymy and synecdoche use a word or phrase to represent something else. Let's consider the earlier example relating to the car. As previously mentioned, wheels is a synecdoche for car. The word ride is an example of metonymy for a car. Why is it metonymy rather than synecdoche? Because the word ride is not part of a car, as is the case with the word wheels. Did you notice their differences? I hope you understand their differences. A synecdoche takes an element of a word or phrase and uses it to refer to the whole. William metonymy replaces the word or phrase entirely with the related term that is not literally a part of it. Let's have another example. Toothpaste is sometimes called Colgate. Let's proceed to another type, which is the euphemism. Euphemism is creating a positive connotation out of something negative. So the idea is to substitute word or phrase with a more pleasant one. Like, for example, instead of saying you are illegitimate child, you are saying love child. So here are the other examples. Saying she pass away instead of saying she died. Saying put to sleep instead of euthanize. Saying big bone instead of overweight. Saying I have to let you go instead of saying you're fired. So that's for euphemism. Next type is ellipsis. Ellipsis is the omission of words in a sentence. Ellipsis is essay to recognize because of 3 dots. When there is 3 dots, that is mean the quotes or the line from original was shortened. For example, she walk away and so the world turns. Did you see the 3 dots? Yes, it is clearly seen. Last example, a red bird to place in my back garden was on my shopping list. The original quote was as follows: a red glassbird to decorate my backyard was on my wish list, but I couldn't find one. Did you see again the 3 dots? Congratulations, you see, that's how the line was omitted. Our next type is a syndeton. A syndeton is not putting any connectors, conjunctions, or prepositions. Conjunction are, and, or, but, for, nor, so, yet to add emphasis. Okay, have an examples. No retreat. No surrender. That's an example of a phrase or sentence without putting any connector such as and, but, for, nor, so, yet, and many more. Let's proceed to another example. The air was thick, warm, heavy, sluggish. This phrase or sentence was coming from the novel entitled Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, and he used a syndeton. Our last example is this, and here it is again in Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. After the climax of the story, my friend is dead, my neighbor is dead, my love, the darling of my soul, is dead. Now remember this, a syndeton isn't a new concept. Writers have used it for thousands of years to create suspense and add emphasis without putting any connectors. Our last types of figurative language is apostrophe. Apostrophe is a direct address to an abstract things or a person who passed away already. It is an exclamatory figure of speech, sometimes exclamation used in it. Now let's have an examples. Life, I cannot understand you. Here, we are talking about life as it is a living object and it is able of understanding. Also notice exclamation mark after life. Our next is this, love, please come and take me. Here it is, another example with the use of exclamation after the word me, and also this sentence or phrase, the person he or she talking to was already passed away. Let's have our last example. O death, where is thy sting? My co-learners, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned from our video. God bless you all.